This is Chris with Dive Zone Scuba for another technical diving tips, techniques, and trips video.
Hello divers, thanks for joining me today. This video is part 3 of the Carry-On Crackdown series. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about the carry-on size piece of luggage. So there are different dimensions being thrown out around, but generally speaking, for the domestic US area, it's 22 by 14 by 9, and for the international area, 21.5 by 15.5 by 9. Of course, their measurements are in metric. So one of the things about the Carry-On Crackdown is that some sources that you'll see on YouTube and also on the internet will say that approximately 60% of the luggage, the carry-on luggage that's out in the market that's being used by people, will not qualify for these new standards when they're started to be enforced. So what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about the actual piece of luggage that I'm using right now for my carry-on piece of luggage in my travel system. So one of the very important things to do when you get your luggage is to actually check out the published dimensions that you purchase them from, either on the internet or Amazon, whatever you're going to be using. So a lot of the manufacturers or the sales sites actually give you the dimensions that lead you to believe that the dimensions are actually correct for the sizing limitations. However, in one case, I did have a piece of luggage and it did not come anywhere close to being acceptable in dimension-wise, even though it said it on the web page. All right, so let's go and check this one out here. Okay, so it is indeed 22 inches, and if we go across here, this is 14, and then if we go here on the side, it does adhere to 9 degrees, okay, 9 inches. It does adhere to 9 inches. All right, so the only issue you have here is, while this might be acceptable for use domestically in the United States, the international dimensions, 55 centimeters tall, is actually a little bit less than 22 inches. And so one of the people that communicated with me about the first Carry-On Crackdown video said that he was actually flying to Canada, and Canada Air would not allow his 22-inch piece of luggage on board without paying extra. So the limitation for that, being the 55 centimeters, is 21.5 versus 22. So what I've done with this piece of luggage in order to meet that requirement, if it comes to it, is I've modified the wheels. So the way I've modified these wheels is I have converted them from being a fixed wheel to a wheel that can be disassembled. Okay, so I can actually take the wheel off like that, and now let's measure it what the height is. All right, so with the new measurement, it's about 21.25 inches. Okay, less than 21.5 inches. So there should be no reason for this piece of luggage to be disqualified or required to have additional payment as a result of being too large. So what I've got here is I've got a quick release clip, and then I've got a washer here on the end, and this is very secure. It won't actually come off. So if you find that you have a piece of luggage that you really like, but it might not meet international requirements, you could try doing something like this in order to making it fit properly. There is a company on the market called Takeoff that does have a design wheel to come off, but that is only for a personal size piece of luggage. So if and when they ever decide to start manufacturing and selling carry-on size luggage, that should be very interesting, because you can max out the size with a much larger piece of luggage than a personal size piece of luggage and carry much more. Okay, so make sure you check out the dimensions. Don't trust what the manufacturer says. This particular piece of luggage has a few features that makes it particularly suitable for my use. One of those is a front pocket here. This is, of course, a hard shell polycarbonate carry-on, and most of these that are hard shell don't have front pockets, but this one does, and you can actually use this one and it will drop down, and you can put a for example, a small notebook computer or an iPad and some other things in there so that they're readily accessible, and you can also put some papers in there. Another thing about this particular piece of luggage is because it is polycarbonate, this particular design enables the use of a zipperless type closure system. So what this has is the combination lock and a little safety here that will allow you to open it, so it is more secure than the average soft-sided zipper closed luggage. Another thing about this particular piece of luggage that I chose it for is the fact that it has a full width locking handle. This makes maneuvering around the airport a little bit more stable, and because it's wide, it holds my personal item, the plate and wing and dry bag system, much more securely than a narrower handle would. There is one pretty much useless feature on this, and it just comes with it, so really nothing I can do about it. But what this feature is, and I can't even get it out right now, is, there we go, is a little cup holder. So while you're waiting for your plane, you can stick your thing in there. I think it's pretty much useless, but it came with it. The other thing about this particular piece of luggage, and I'm gonna maneuver like this, is that it does have inside a compartmentalized area. So you have an area here, and including a clear area, and then there is a zippered area here like that you can put things in, and of course down in the bottom there is the regular area where you could put a lot of items. So because the handle is one that is a full length width, you don't have a bar here impeding you putting stuff in there. It has the bar here and the bar here for the extended handle, so it interferes less with what you're trying to pack in there. All right, so this is a basic introduction to the piece of luggage, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to talk about what I carry inside the piece of luggage. All right, so in this video clip, what I'm going to demonstrate is putting all this gear inside the carry-on piece of luggage. So one of the things that you have to do in order to get all this gear in here is that you're going to have to partially disassemble some of the regulators. So what I've done is I've disassembled the hose off each of the regulator sets, and I've also taken off the second stage too. That makes it much easier to pack everything, because if everything is attached to one thing, you have less flexibility. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these things down in there, and that will give me the opportunity to pack things much better. Okay, so I'm going to put in this fin in here first. You'll also notice that I have taken off the metal straps. You can put those on later, or what I'm planning on doing here is I'm planning on using bungee. Okay, so that was my travel gas regulator, and I'm going to put my low O2 regulator in there. And let me stick this in the foot pocket again as well. Okay, so I'm going to put this regulator in there like that, so they're kind of nested.
I do have a couple of small gaps here, and what I'm going to use those gaps for is actually using, putting in my regulator, my primary regulators. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these. Okay, this is my necklace regulator, and I'm going to find a place to put, for example, the first stage in, and I have a little pocket there, and then I have these hoses, and I'm going to stick those. I'm going to stick those there. There's a small gap here when I put these in, so I'm going to take advantage of that small gap. And then I have my my long hose regulator here, and of course, since this is longer, it's a little bit more difficult to position everything, but it can be done. All right, so I'm going to stick that in there, and then I've got the long hose, which always causes a few issues, and I'm going to stick that in there. And I'm going to wiggle this around a little bit in order to get everything in here. Okay, a little bit more slack there for this. And I can put this underneath here in order to get everything in. You'll notice that these were originally a set of deep 680 fins, and in order to get them in here, what I've actually had to do is chop off the last inch or so on here. So that has enabled me to get everything in. All right, so that's the hard part. Okay, so the next part here is we're going to take the other regulators, in this case my O2 regulator and my O2 first stage, and again, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for some place to put this so that everything is going to fit. Okay, and then I have this bad thing here. Let's see, where can I put that? I might put that there. Then I might attempt to put this here. That looks like that'll work. And then I have a secondary light, which I think that will fit underneath here. We'll see. Yeah, that'll fit underneath there. Okay, and then I have a handle. Oh, that jammed that down in there. All right, so this pretty much has all that gear in there. And here are the hoses. And what I do with the hoses, typically, is I put them, there's like kind of a little groove. There's a groove that is generated by the pocket. Then what I'll do is I'll put that there. And so a few other things that I will have are things like swim shorts and socks. I gotta have those, can't do without those. And I actually have room for a few other things, extra shirt, maybe some underwear and so on. And what I can now do is put all that stuff that I want in there and then just zip this up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to close everything in here. Okay, so turn that sideways. I think this will happen. I'm going to now close this up, and look at that. With a little careful planning, I'm able to close the whole thing. Absolutely no problems at all in terms of having this. And so I now have all this gear in here. I don't have my my computer in there yet. I can put all this gear in there, and I can travel with this piece of luggage, and also my personal item, which again is the plate, wing, and dry bag. And I can go to my destination, and when I arrive, I will have all my gear with me. Now, there's one disadvantage to this. This system works as long as there are no questions about having to worry about weight. So what I'm going to do in part 4 is I'm going to talk about using the same system, but with some weight restrictions on how you can effectively respond to those. This is Chris with Dive Zone Scuba. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.